Hey you guys, C here, and thank you so much for clicking this video to join me today. Today we are discussing everything that you need to know about hanging philodendrons. So I'm going to be spilling the tea on why this is a must-have plant for your plant collection. As you can see, I have a handful of philodendrons, and that's mainly because they are easy to grow, they're easy to care for, and I get a lot of joy seeing them grow. Now, throughout this video, I'm probably going to lump all of these plants into one and refer to it as this plant. And that's because the care for these hanging philodendrons is relatively the same across the board. As a matter of fact, I have dozens of philodendrons in my collection, whether they're hanging or not. And I want to say that the care for them is relatively the same for all of them. But I am going to lump these plants, the Brazil, the Micans, the Hartley philodendron, and the various others that I don't have in my collection, I'm going to lump them in as all the same. So the philodendron genus contains hundreds of species of these beautiful plants. In general, the philodendrons have large, green, glossy leaves, right? And so philodendrons are categorized into two types. You either have vining or non-climbing. So today we're going to be discussing the vining ones. The vining can grow as long as several feet, and I have a great example. My Philodendron Brazil is well over 5 feet long. It's a little tangled down because I've pulled her down, but I have her hanging from my high ceilings only because her vines are so long. This is my baby too. This is my baby. I shouldn't have pulled her down. This is my baby. This is one of my favorite plants. Okay, anyway. They are also a great choice to purify your home. However, they are toxic to pets and humans if ingested. So with your vining philodendrons, it's great that you can hang those up to keep those out of reach from your babies or your pets, but just keep that in mind when you are placing it in your home. Now, philodendrons are great for adding a little bit of tropical flair in your home, but you want to make sure that you are mimicking its tropical environment that it is native to. So you want to provide it with great sunlight and warmth and humidity. So to kick off the light, bright indirect sunlight. Now this is one of those plants that you can have in lower light situations. It is going to thrive though when you're giving it more sunlight. If you're putting it in a lower light environment, then you're going to have sparse leaves on your stems, probably going to have smaller leaves and less color variation depending on what type of philodendron that you have. You don't want to put it in a spot where it's getting direct sunlight because you can scorch the leaves. So if you're putting it off to the side of a window or in front of a window that doesn't get direct sunlight, a window that is sheared with a sheer curtain or blinds, and you're good to go. If you're unable to provide your plant with natural light or bright indirect sunlight from your windows, then grow lights are great. I supplement most of my light with grow lights, only because I have northwest facing windows, so they really aren't that ideal. And the grow lights help to achieve pretty happy plants all year long. Second to light is water. This is not a thirsty plant. You want to make sure that its soil remains moist. It does not like soggy feet. Now with your hanging philodendrons, they're going to talk to you a little bit similar to the pothos. When they get too thirsty, you're going to see them kind of limp. They're going to lose the bounce in their leaves and they're going to start to like sink down. What do I want to say? They're going to start looking a little deflated. But you really don't want to get them to that level because that's going to put them under some unnecessary stress. After a while, you'll get the hang of it. Now with mine, I water my plants about every 1.5 to 2 weeks. That works for me. That works for my schedule. I can't tell you to do the same because everyone's humidity levels are going to be different. Everyone's light conditions are going to be different. Everyone's soil may be different. So what works for me may not work for you. It's trial and error. This is a very simple plant. You'll get the hang of it. Now, after light and water, it's going to be your soil. So once again, you want to mimic the rainforest. These plants like moist soil, but also well-draining soils. I've created my own potting mix for all of my philodendrons. So my plants are in a mix of potting soil, peat moss to retain the moisture, orchid bark so that it is well draining, as well as perlite. Now, I don't think that you need orchid bark and perlite. That's just my preference. But I think if you have one or the other to increase the drainage in your potting mix, you're good to go. Once again, the peat moss is for moisture retention, and the orchid bark and perlite is for drainage. One or the other is just fine. I've been using that for a number of years. It works really well for me. I don't like to put it in strictly potting soil, because once again, they don't like wet feet, and drainage is super important with these philodendrons. If they have wet feet, you're going to have yellowing leaves, and the growth is going to be really sporadic on that plant. Next, we want to talk about the humidity. Regular household humidity, about 40% is going to be perfect. If you want to boost it a little bit like I do, then I say 60 to 65% humidity, and you've got a pretty happy plant. Now, if you have your plant in a smaller room and there's not much air circulating, I would stay away from having the humidity too high, because you don't want to risk mold in your home. But if you have air circulating, you got a good amount of sunlight coming in that room, or grow lights, then you should be fine. Let's discuss propagation. So this is a very simple plant to propagate. You can split the root ball. If you have a plant that is becoming root bound inside your pot, then you can most certainly split the root ball, or you can do some stem propagations. So these hanging philodendrons, they have nodes on them. And so you're going to cut your plant about an inch or two from the node and pop that in water. These root up pretty fast. Within about 3 to 4 weeks, you should have some roots that are at least 1 or 2 inches long. Stick those in some soil, or add them to your pot, and it makes a great little gift for friends and family. Or you can just make your plant fuller. In regards to temperature, you want to make sure that your philodendrons are in a room that does not drop anywhere below 55 degrees Fahrenheit. And you also want to keep it away from any cool drafts. These plants don't have any serious issues when it comes to pests or disease. Now, they are susceptible to your common household pests like aphids and spider mites, thrips, scale, mealybugs. So you want to make sure that you are cleaning it with an insecticidal soap. For those that are new to my channel, I will link what I use down below, and I'll also provide the recipe that I make for my neem oil mixture. Make sure that you clean the leaves of your plants with that quite often. I go around all of my house plants once a month, and I spray the top and the bottom of the leaf, rub it in really good with that neem oil mixture. Not only does it help prevent pests, because you want to prevent them before they're even an issue. Not only is it good to prevent pests, but it's also great to encourage photosynthesis by wiping the leaves of any dust or dirt or dander that is on your leaves. Much like everything else, pruning is just as simple. You want to make sure that you prune your plant if it becomes too long or too leggy, and that's just it. It's just that simple. When it comes to fertilization, I fertilize my plants with an organic fertilizer every time I water. It's very gentle on your plant. I have not experienced any leaf burn, any damage. I continue to see growth all throughout the course of the year. For those that are new to my channel, I will link what I use down below. Man, I feel like I'm missing something, but I'm really not. I can't be. This plant is just it's incredibly simple to take care of. And I think when it comes to houseplants, I think you got to get started with some easier ones to really encourage and foster that love. When you start off with the hard ones that you are killing left and right, it kind of makes it a little harder to take joy and pride in this community. But if you start off simple with beautiful plants like this, and you learn how to take care of them, and they're growing and thriving, it just makes it so exciting to grow your collection. So that's it. This is a simple plant. I hope you have learned that it is simple. It's foolproof. If I can take care of them, then so can you. And I'm here to provide you with all the tips and tricks that you need. I have 2 Philodendron Brazils, 2 Hartley Philodendrons, and a Philodendron Micans. What hanging philodendrons am I missing? What do you have in your collection that I need to go purchase? Definitely leave that in the comment section below, because I kind of want to add a few more of these to my collection. I love these plants. I love this plant. I love this particular family of house plants. They're just so easy. They're foolproof. They really are. So I hope you guys are encouraged to head to your local greenhouse if you don't already have one of these green babies. And I hope I've given you a little bit of insight or feedback on how to take care of them. And if you enjoyed it, definitely consider giving me a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more plant profiles and planting videos headed your way. As always, I love you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.